welcome back to pause. Um, this is Sam again, and this is our lesson number 4. Lesson number 3, we talk about creating the WBS structure using the 8 step. I hope you really enjoyed the video and you know how to build your WBS structure by using that 8 steps. Right, so in this lesson, we are going to talk about a little bit more about getting the activity duration estimates done and how we distribute the activity list to different people in your team and then uh, get it combined and import back into Primavera. So in this lesson I'm not going to teach you um, how to uh, calculate the activity duration. Then for that you may need some idea about the productivity and the productivity factors that comes from your knowledge in engineering and other disciplines. So we are not going to talk about that part, but we will talk about how we export that activity data from Primavera and distribute that list to different people, and once they worked out and collect that information and import back into Primavera. So that's the main the whole idea about running through this video. Alright, quickly let's if you did not watch the previous lesson, it's good to watch that out and have an idea about the 8 steps of creating the WBS structure. And I will put the links in the description below, so you better watch that video first, and then what is how that 8 step works, and then you can come to this stage for getting the activity duration estimate done, and it will be pretty easy if you follow step by step, and eventually you will end up getting a solid Primavera work schedule. Alright, so I don't want to waste much time talking about the WBS structure, and I hope uh, you did some exercise, you understand that, and okay, let's quickly jump into the next stage. So this is the 8 step that we talked about in the last video, but before you going to export that data to Excel activity data, but you need to know about some of the important parameters or some of the important settings in your Primavera P6 that you need to do before you export the data, especially when you're working on the activity and duration estimate. So there are 6 different types. I think this is the one you have, or the latest version. You can check that out. I'll show you where it is. There are 6 different activity types in Primavera we have, but at this stage we are going to talk about only few of them, which is really necessary at this stage. So the first one is task dependent, and the start milestone and the finish milestone. So the other activity types, which is shown in the right hand side on this table, the second column, the level of effort, the resource dependent WBS summary, is equally important, but we are not going to talk about that for now. Just keep it aside and let's focus on the task dependent start milestone and the finish milestone, because the way I am teaching this Primavera course is I'm just giving you the idea and how we do that step by step, and I'll talk about that particular option on the right time. Then that is the best practice of learning, and that is how you absorb the real feeling of doing a proper scheduling. Right. Okay, so task dependent activity. What is the task dependent activity? Is the activity the duration is purely driven by its calendar, but and this activity duration is not driven by the resources assigned to that activity. All right. So the task dependent activities are independent from the assigned resources. Okay, we have the flexibility to work on the activity duration without considering the resources we do have and we have assigned to that activity. And we have the start milestone, that is usually the first activity of a project, but the start milestone which doesn't have any finish date, it has a start date. And also we don't assign resources for milestone activities. Usually milestone activity duration is 0. The start milestone has successes but doesn't have any predecessors. Similarly, we have finish milestone that has a finish date only, we don't have a start date. Also, we don't have resources assigned to this finish milestone. And we have predecessors, number of predecessors finish milestone. Usually we don't have successes for that, unless we have a situation where we have intermediate milestone and that got linked to a final milestone. So there will be a relationship between those two milestones, and in that particular situation we really cannot say that that finished milestone doesn't have any successes. Uh, but as a general knowledge, so finished milestone usually have more predecessors but not successes. So we are not going to talk about the level of effort, result dependent, and WBS summary for now, but I'll definitely talk about these activity types in the future when and where necessary. Alright, similarly, another important thing that you need to understand about the duration types and what is the relationship between duration types versus activity type. I will give you a quick insight. I'm not going to talk you much detail about this, but if you Google it, and there are so many materials available in the internet, you can read through, get some idea about what are the differences between these activity types and the duration types. But I'll give you a quick insight about what are these duration types. So the first one is fixed duration and units. This is the most popular, the common duration type that most of the time we use when you're creating schedule in Primavera Basics. What does it mean? That duration is fixed and the units are fixed. So the parameter is changing is units per time. Units per time is the number of units that you are going to execute on a timely basis. Like it could be a day, or it could be a hour, it could be a week or month. But we have different types of resources, so it's the units per time measurements will be changing depending upon the resource type you have. Okay, if you have a labor resource, like it could be 8 hours per day, the one single labor resource can work 8 hours per day. This 8 hours per day is the units per time. But duration is fixed and the number of units are fixed. uh, like um, for example, you have an activity that's it should take 10 days. You're not going to change the 10 days, and you need like how many 60 man hours to complete this um, task in uh, 10 days duration. So what you need to do is you need to change the units per time. So you need to do more hours in a day to get this done. So that's okay. And the second one is fixed duration and units per time. So in this case, duration is fixed and it will be 10 days, and also that units per time, so 8 hours per day, that is fixed, you can't change that. Okay, so number of units will be changing, right? The only parameter is changing in this situation is the number of units. And these two activities are mostly related to task dependent activities, and rest of these two is fixed units and fixed units per time. These are uh, mostly related with resource dependent activities. In fixed units, the units are fixed and duration and the units per time is getting changed when you change the units, number of units. The last one is fixed units per time. So units per time is fixed. Units that you are going to do on a daily basis or weekly basis or hourly basis is fixed, and duration will be changing, and the units, number of units will be changing when you change the units per time. Okay, but we don't really necessary to talk about these two ones at this stage. Units, fixed units and units, fixed units per time, but we will talk about fixed duration and units almost all the time, because this is the most common duration type, and this is the most common activity type is task dependent, and the duration time is fixed duration and units. But I would recommend you to read through some of the documents, internet materials, if you can find. That would be really helpful to better understand what does it mean, and some examples are available in some sort of calculations, because I'm not going to show you here. So I'll let you to do that. And okay, I'll quickly show you where these options can be found in Primavera P6. If you open Primavera P6, and you can usually get this bottom layout, and so if it is not there, so simply see, once you in your activity window, if you can't see the bottom layout with that all the activity details, and you can get it by clicking this button here from your main toolbar. So show hide bottom layout, so click that, and that activity details bottom layout will appear. So you need to get this one, and if you click one of this activity and go to the general tab here, the very first tab here over here, and click on that, you can see the activity type is task dependent and the duration time is fixed duration and units. Okay, in this example we have lesser activities. You can quickly scan through and whether check whether you can you have these settings done properly. But think about that, you have uh, more activities in your schedule, and you can't really go one by one, and it's really time consuming. So the best practice is to do that. You have to get these two columns here. Okay, how to get these columns? So if you are in activity window, and this is your Gantt chart view, and this is your activity list view, so click on these columns headings over here, and click on the columns, and you will get these selected options, and there are available options here. So click on general, you have this activity type and the duration type. Okay, so just as a routine checkup, so activity type and the duration type. Okay, get these two columns, expand this a little bit. Okay, and expand these columns as well. Alright, so if you scroll down, and you can see that all the activity type is task dependent, and the duration type is fixed duration and units, but only one activity here you can see it fixed units, but we need to change that back into fixed duration and units. So one way is to do, okay, you can simply click here and change it if it is a single activity. But imagine you have more activities, you found that with different options, its best way is to click the top one with the right duration type and scroll down, and by pressing a shift button and click the last one and right click and fill down, so it will fill down all your activities. So if you have more activities, that is one of the best way of doing it, and similarly you can do the same for the activity type as well. But here is everything looks all right, but there is also another method called global change, so that will eventually come to you in my next videos. That is sort of a global change is the kind of inbuilt kind of tool inside Primavera that we can run some calculations using some formulas. So it's a really good options in Primavera P6, so we'll talk about that later. Leave it that for now, and but this is one option that you can change these options by getting these two columns here and by using the fill down options. Okay, right, I hope everything is clear to you. Right, so now the next step, what is that? Now if everything is all right, this activity type is okay, duration type is fine, and now the next step we are going to do, because if you have bigger number of activities in your schedule, you can't work on that by your own or you can't work alone and you need to get some help from your project team, and you need to export this data and segregate this data into different sheets. Maybe you need to send that out to your team and get it back and work out your exported file, and then you import back into Primavera. So what is the best way is doing that? Once you get this your WBA structure done, and once you done with your activity list and your duration type, activity type is correct, and then we're going to export this activity data into an Excel. Okay, so I hope you remember from my last video how we do that export, but we'll do it once more. Go to file menu, the main menu, go to file. Okay, if you could, sorry, small, my mouse is a bit ridiculous. Okay, go to file, click on export, and if you get this window here, so we are going to export this data as a spreadsheet, and click next. And we need the activities, we don't need activity relationship, expenses, resources, resource assignments we don't need at this stage, we'll talk about later. Activities, so click next. Okay, what is the project that you want to export? Is PR0001 construction of road west. Click on this little box here and click next. Okay, this is the template that we used last time, but let's quickly look at it again and click on modify. Okay, always make sure that you have the right template name and the subject area. Subject area is activities, and so what is the options we have here? Selected options. So we need activity ID, status, WBS code, activity name. Yes, we need the original duration. That's what we are going to work on, and start and finish it. I'm just putting this start and finish date for now because I'll show you something once we exported the data. Yeah, that's the minimum we need, and we don't need any filters, we don't need any group and sorting here. So our selected column options is right, and click OK, and then you can click next. Okay, this is the file, project name, and the selected access file. There's a one existing file over there, we're going to rewrite that file. So select that one and click next. It will ask you to review the information, your file path and the subject area. Make sure that both are correct and click finish. Okay, your export was successful. All right, that's good. And minimize that. So I should be able to, we should be able to see that exported file over here. Okay, and bring this file to my this screen over here. All right, so this is the exported data. I'll expand this slightly. So see here we have the activity ID, activity status, WPS code, activity name, and we got the original duration. That's the data field that we are working on in. See this start and finish date, and not like in other data field columns, you have a asterisk mark at the beginning of the data field name, the start and finish date. Okay, so that's the main difference I wanted to highlight. When you exported some data, and if you get this asterisk mark, it means that you can't change this data field. You are not allowed to change the data field. If you change it, you can't import back this to Primavera once you done the changes. Okay, any of these columns data you can do that because it doesn't have any asterisk mark there, but this start finish date you can't really change that. Okay, right, and all right, so so your activity exported list is ready, but now you are going to, what you're going to do is you're going to separate this activity list into 2 or 3, and you're going to send this to your team members. So how are we going to do that? So I'll minimize this one, I'll open a new Excel sheet here. Okay, let's keep it here, and so I'll call as lists. Okay, disappeared. Alright, sorry, this maybe the file is open already. Okay, put a new one here, so I call as lists. Okay, okay, this is list, and open it again. Right, so it doesn't have anything. I'll add two tabs. So one is list 1, the other one is list 2. Okay, so what we are going to do here, we are going to separate this list into two and send it to your project team. So what I'll do, I'll get some of the data, or you can directly copy that data from your Primavera. So select all, okay, and copy, go back to your Excel sheet, list 1, put it here, paste it here. So I have, okay, so from preliminaries all the way up to construction, I'll keep in list 1, and from here all the way up to handing over, I will put that into list number 2. Okay, so I'm going to these two lists to two different people. All right, so list is ready, and so what you're going to do next, okay, go back to your exported file here. So now what I'm going to do, so imagine that these people have done some duration estimate for us. Okay, so okay, so uh, for the purpose of doing this exercise, to show you how to do that, I just get some random numbers, but this is not the exact activity duration estimate. But to show you how to link these two file back into your mother file, I'll just get some random numbers. Okay, so ran between, I'll say 5 to 30. Okay, so okay, this is done. Go to your list number 1, and I'll also get some, otherwise you can't see the difference once you imported the data. So ran between, I'll say 10, no, I'll say 2 to 20. So that's enough for now. Alright, so this is, drag it down. So we have some durations there. Imagine that these two groups have done this exercise for us. So now we are going to take that information back to our mother file here. Alright, I am going to use, okay, just carefully watch this trick here. I am going to use the VLOOKUP function from Excel. VLOOKUP, what is the VLOOKUP value? Is the VLOOKUP value is the common parameter that we have in both sheets, which is the activity ID, and then array. Where are we going to find the data? So first is list 1. Go to list 1 and click on all the way up to the duration. There you go. And what is the column number in the table? 1, 2, 3. And yes, we need the exact match. And close the bracket and enter. So you get in names here, doesn't matter, but drag it down. Okay, you're getting an error. Why? You see, in the lookup value here, we don't have any space at the beginning, but if you go to the list 1, you have some space at the beginning. So that's where the creating the error. So how are we going to do that? So click on that column, Control F. Okay, given space, replace with none. Okay, we replace 157 replacements and save it. Okay, and if you go back again to your mother file here and see, okay, so these activity duration have are appearing now in your mother file, because now the VLOOKUP function is working. Okay, So now what is next? So similarly we can go to the list number 2 and click on the column and do the same, replace with none. So we did 421 replacement. We remove the spaces at the beginning of the activity ID, come back to the list. Now you simply, what you have to do, because we don't know which list that is related to, because it's still uh, with the list on. So go back to list 2 and see how many uh, rows we have, like 63. Okay, go back here. Only thing that you need to change is A1 C, make it 65. 3 will be the same, that will be the same, but and this time you need a list number 2. Click enter. See, numbers getting changed. So that's picked it up and drag it down. So alright, this is your duration estimate. Please don't quote me on these original duration, because I was just showing you the method that you need to follow, but it is not the actual realistic duration. You need to work out these durations with your team by using your productivity analysis and various productivity considering various productivity factors. And there are different approaches people can take to estimate activity durations. It has to be very synchronized procedure. There are so many uh, documents, reference materials available on the internet. Just read through what are those productivity factors. These factors are depending upon your complexity of projects, and it's changing location to location, country to country, region to region. So it's not that easy and it's not that difficult as well. So but once you know the principles and the concept behind that. All right, I think activity estimate is ready, and just save it and close that file. Okay, all right, so we don't need this anymore. And okay, this is our project, this is our Primavera file. Okay, activity duration estimate is ready. Now we are going to import back that list back into Primavera. All right, what you need to go to file, click on import. Okay, it'll give you different options to import. So we are going to import the spreadsheet, and click next, select the file to import. Okay, it's in our desktop, so click on desktop. If you go down, I think this is our file. Click open and click next, and we need the import data type is just activities, and click next. Import to, okay, which projects we are going to import that data. Alright, we need to select the project. Project is P001 construction of road west, and click next. Okay, review the information below and click finish when you're ready. See the file path is correct and click finish. Alright, I think you should see a message saying that your import is successful, but sometimes depending upon the speed and the database quality in your computer, it might take a little while, and but this is the way that you should do in any scale of projects that you're dealing with. And so you, first thing is you need to organize your WBA structure and get your activity list done, and then get this project activity duration estimate. And this estimate, keep in mind, this may not be the final activity duration for each and every activity. We might have to change these activity duration slightly depending upon the time frame we have for the completion of the project. So but for now, I guess this is more than enough. I want you to practice this again and again, and I hope you will be getting some good idea about how to export the data and import back in Primavera. But remember those options that you use to split the activity list into two and send to the team, and use VLOOKUP function, okay, and get it back, that information, into your mother file, and then import it back into Primavera. All right, I think that's all I just wanted to tell you today. Now you know very well about how to create your WA structure and how to create your activity list, and then you know how to get your activity duration estimate. So hopefully in the next video I'm going to talk about how to do the relationship between activities, and then and get the final project completion date as per the contract data. So that is our next challenge, next target. All right, unless we see you next time, have a good day and enjoy your rest of the week. Okay, if you like this video, subscribe to my channel and like this video. All right, thanks very much guys. See you.